Thank God we can move on. Yeah, there y'all are. How y'all doing tonight? And probably have another issue that ahead of me tomorrow. Have a lot going on tomorrow too. I'll try to get on the air by tomorrow evening about 6. Going to be tuning in to tomorrow's show. I haven't been selling any of the merchandise. Some pretty good traffic though. I've had about people that the domain since it launched. I hope it's going to be a success. It's something that, like I said, I take outlet that I try to people in the who around the world wants to listen. I never was that big of a shy person, but you know, it's awfully hot tonight. I know that much. My neck of the woods. Statement released by ISIS, which I picked up this evening from the Conservative Institute. That with y'all. 323-693-3320. Go ahead and jump into our news.
Hello, everybody. We're having some meetings. I know you're going to be watching a couple of them. We have a lot of people here today. A lot of subjects under discussion, including Venezuela, including, of course, North Korea. And during the weekend, as you know, toward the end, we go into Manhattan, where I have a lot of meetings scheduled in Manhattan. Any questions?
Mr. President, North Koreans said yesterday they were taken on Tuesday with nonsense that they use. Do you have any response to that?
Well, I don't think they mean that, and I think sometimes they've heard it. And frankly, the people that were questioning that statement were in our country for a long time, for many years. And it's about time that somebody stuck up for the people of other countries. So, if anything, maybe that statement wasn't tough enough. And we're backed by 100% by our military, we're backed by everybody, and we're backed by many other leaders. And I noticed that many senators and others today came out very much in favor of what I said. But if anything, that statement may not be tough enough.
What would be tough?
We don't talk about that. I never do. I'm not like the other administration that would say we're going into Mosul. We don't talk about it. We'll see what happens. I'll tell you what they've been doing and what they've been getting away with. Tragedy. And it can't be allowed. Sure. Always consider negotiations, but they've been negotiating now for 25 years. Look at Clinton. He folded on the negotiations. He was weak and ineffective. He didn't want to talk about it. But I talk. It's about time. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it.
Talk about your relationship with...
It's done. I've been hearing repeal and replace now for 7 years, but I've only been doing this for 2 years, and I've really only been doing this for 6 months, but I've been running, so now it's almost 2 years. And I said, where's the bill? I want to sign it first day, and they don't have it. And they passed repeal and replace, but they never had a president, frankly, or a Senate that was going to do it, but they never had a president. Replace. Now I want tax reform and tax cuts. We're going to reduce taxes for the people. We pay more tax than anybody in the world. Tax reform, and I want a very big infrastructure bill where we're working on that very hard already, and we can do that, and we may even get bipartisan, but we want to have it. But I said, Mitch, get to work and let's get it done. They should have had this last one done. They lost by one.
McConnell consider stepping down as majority leader. There's some conservative analysts, including some analysts, who say it's time for him to retire.
If he doesn't get repealed, and if he doesn't get taxed, and if he doesn't get a very easy one to get done, infrastructure to get them done, then you can ask me that question.
So what is that? Yes,
You can ask me the question. That means ask me that question. Let's hope he gets it. The opioid crisis is an emergency. It's a national emergency. We're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money on the opioid crisis. We're going to draw it up, and we're going to make it a national emergency. It is a serious problem, the likes of which we have never had. You know, when I was growing up, they had the LSD country over the last 4 years. It's a worldwide problem, not just a United States problem. This is happening worldwide, but this is a national emergency, and we are drawing documents now to attest. I mean, to be honest, honest, General Mattis may have taken it a step beyond what I said. It's just, look, here's the view. I don't have to say it again. And I'll tell you this, it may be tougher than I said it. Less. It may very well be tougher than I said. Okay? How about one more?
Can you offer any assurance to the American people who are understandably anxious about the situation in North Korea? They see images of these missiles coming up in the air with the tests of bombs. They see your statement about fire and fury. Should they be comfortable that you have this under
The people of this country should be very comfortable. And I will tell you this, if North Korea does anything in terms of even thinking about attack, we should be very nervous because things will happen to them like they never thought possible. Okay? He's been pushing the world around for a long time. And I have great respect for what China and what Russia did and those 15, we got a 15 to nothing vote. What they did on sanctions. Believe that will have an effect. I don't think it will have the kind of effect, even though Nikki Haley did a great job. We all did a great job. But I have great respect for what they did. Nothing, but probably it will not be as effective as a lot of people think it can be, unfortunately. I think China can do a lot more, yes. China can. And I think China... We have trade with China. We lose hundreds of billions of dollars a year on trade with China. They know how I feel. It's not going to continue like that. But if China helps us, I feel a lot differently for trade. A lot. The people of our country are safe. Our allies are safe. And I will tell you this. North Korea better get their... like few nations ever have been in trouble in this world. Okay? Thank you very much. We're going down to the other side, and we're going to take a few more questions. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There you have that speech already, though, from the president. Let's say what Mitch the bitch McConnell was talking about. This is totally unscripted, by the way. I've not watched this video. Alright, switch videos on me. Y'all want to call the show tonight? Numbers 323-693-3320. Doesn't matter who you are, what you've got to say, your opinion matters here on the Alex Morgan Show. For you, by you. If I don't succeed, yeah, I hope I hope there's a lot of y'all that check out on the site.
Should have had this last one done. They lost by one vote. For a thing like that to happen is a disgrace.
The president is a...
Well, I said I was going to play that video. Tell you what, my computer's lagging right now on account of Spreaker and Blog Talk Radio going, I guess. What the problem is. Devices today, I actually had to reset and go through all kinds of security detail and all this. So yeah, we'll watch if I can get it to play. I agree with about 98% of what he says.
For getting drunk and having sex with time. Oh, her eyes out after President beat her beloved Hillary, thinks that people should be arrested now if they make racist jokes. She took to Twitter last night to tweet one of the dumbest things I've ever...
Two Chinese guys were arrested in Berlin for making Nazi salutes. Would it be nice to have laws here for people who think racism is funny?
I've never seen any comedian say in my entire life when she said two Chinese guys were arrested in Berlin, which sounds... were arrested for making Nazi salutes. Wouldn't it be nice to have laws here for people who think racism is funny? By the way, in Germany and other parts of Europe, the thought police are very powerful and often each because liberalism has poisoned their minds. And it looks like these two Chinese guys were joking around and they were arrested. And now one of the most popular female comedians in the United States wants Americans arrested if they crack racist jokes too. Oh, speaking of racism, the New York Times just reported that the Trump administration wants to investigate colleges. Great idea, because affirmative justice document with white people, but instead come from the fact that several Asians want to sue Harvard for discrimination because their affirmative action policy allows entry and them. It's the reason that Barack Obama got accepted for Harvard. And I'm sure when they looked at his application, they're like, oh, you're a Muslim? And you like to date trans women? Come on in, you get a free ride, son.
Come on
The
in.
Washington Compost just published this article. Don't use Asian Americans to justify. Just imagine how upsetting affirmative action's got to be for the Asians, who tend to be the smartest and the highest earning income in the United States, when they're turned down from going to Harvard because they decided to accept some black kid with a horrible GPA just because he's black. But leave it to the New York Times to blame white people. Which just came out, and one of the characters has a blue vest. And so Black Lives Matter troll DeRay McCann trailer and got tricked because he himself always wears his trademarked blue vest. He thinks that the producers are making fun of him in the movie. He tweeted out, given the history of rendering black people as apes, I'm offended and by the lack of consciousness in Hollywood. Hashtag Planet of the Apes, where he included a screenshot of the character. He later deleted it. But there was one person on Twitter who supported him, Tariq Nasheed, who stood in solidarity and tweeted out this picture and says, does the new Planet of the Apes poster have racially coded the Black Lives Matter symbolism? Notice the ape with the blue vest. If you're not familiar with Tariq, the most racist troll on Twitter. And I don't know if he's just completely insane. It's too hard to tell. Maybe liberals are on some kind of special designer LSD, which induces racist hallucinations, because they're seeing it there. The Washington Post asks, should white chefs sell burritos? A Portland food cart's revealing controversy. Apparently, there are people in Portland elevating America's conversation about black identity, politics, and culture. Telling stories by, for, and about the black community. Oh, and if you missed my previous video about how liberals think that milk now is a symbol of supremacy, just go and look it up. I'm not joking. Just random lunatics on Twitter. PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, says milk is a symbol of white supremacy. And then we say that liberalism. To go get my new Liberalism Find a Cure t-shirt. Just check the link in the description below for my new online store. The shirt is now available in black. Wait a minute, is that a pun? No? Is that racist? I don't know. The shirt was available in white. I'm sure that people will say that that's devastating disease before it destroys America. I'm Mark Dice. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Check back here every day for new reports, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hallelujah, Mark. We salute you, brother. No, I don't. The milk. That's a little bit too liberal for me. This is one of the headlines which is up on Drudge right now. on so much. This takes too damn long. But like I said, I had some issues earlier with one of my devices. So I'm sitting here suffering right now. Chinese paper says China. Where'd it go? Text first. Talking about North Korea. I guess. I think is what they mean. Beijing, Reuters. If North Korea doesn't attack the threatened, but if the United States attacks to try to overthrow Korea, will stop them. China's state-run newspaper said on Friday. President Donald Trump ratcheted up the rhetoric toward Pyongyang against attacking Guam or after it disclosed plans to fire missiles near the U.S. Pacific territory. Korea's partner has reiterated calls for calm during the current crisis. It has expressed frustration with both Pyongyang's repeated nuclear missile tests and with behavior from South Korea. The widely read state-run Global Times, published by the ruling Communist Party's official People's Daily, editorial that Beijing is not able to persuade whether Washington or Pyongyang to back down. Besides, actions jeopardize China's interest. China will respond with a firm hand, unquote, said the paper, which does not represent government policy. Quote, China launches missiles that threaten U.S. soil first, and the U.S. retaliates. China will stay neutral. Quote, if the U.S. and South Korea carry out strikes and try to overthrow the North Korean regime, China will prevent them from doing so, end quote. China has long worried that any conflict of the Korean Peninsula or a 1953 Korean War could unleash a wave of refugees into the Northeast and could end up with a unidentified country ally with the United States. Between it and U.S. forces based in South Korea and also across the sea in Japan. Any side which wants to change the status quo of the areas whose interests are concerned, end quote. Quote, the Korean Peninsula is where the strategic interest of side should try to be the absolute dominator of the end quote. That was from Reuters. Give that number out again. It's 323-693-3320. All callers are welcome. Call and let me know what y'all think about this situation or whatever. Just let your minds. Give me your thoughts. This computer's slow as it can be tonight. I promise, folks, I'll never do it this way again. North Korean missiles can reach Guam in 14 minutes, local official says. If North Korea fires missiles, well, this is news. Written by Sean Raimondo, S. Ray. PDN.com, published on August 10th, 2017. If North Korea fires missiles toward reach the island, said Guam Homeland Security spokeswoman Gwyneth Minda. I said Jenna Gamady. I guess, excuse me. She said residents would be immediately notified by the 15 all hazards alert warning system areas protests throughout the island. North Korea announced Thursday that the nation has a detailed plan for a strike near Guam using 4 intermediate range ballistic rockets. Office will be notified from the military and will utilize all forms of mass communication to get the message out to the public. End quote. Committee said local media, village mayors, and social media would be used to disseminate information. Quote, if you hear the sirens, tune into the local media, radio, print, television for further instructions, she said. North Korea said under the plan, Hawaii sang 12 rockets fly over the main Hiroshima, Koichi prefectures in Japan, hitting waters 19-25 miles from the island. The Associated Press could be sent to leader Kim Jong-un for approval within a week or so. Greg Kuntz, acting public affairs director for Joint Region Marinas, said the military on island continues to maintain standard operations amid threats from North Korea. Quote, we always maintain a high state of readiness, Kuntz said. When federal officials said there were no change in the and all operations continue as normal. Kuntz said that nothing has changed in terms of Joint Region comms and communications between the military and the dependents. Calvo and Guam Homeland Security Advisor George Carfanos on Wednesday noted the defense systems put in place as the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD, missile defense system permanently stationed on Anderson Air Force. Guam faced previous threats of area, which has been conducting frequent tests of its nuclear missile capability. 2013, North Korean military officials made a statement about Anderson Air Force Base being within quote in October 2006. Spokesman for North Korea in Japan told ABC Radio Australia that Guam, Japan, and Hawaii were potential targets if the U.S. against North Korea. Carlson, president of Money Resources Inc., serves on Guam Chamber of Commerce Armed Forces Committee, expressed defense capabilities. Quote, I don't think there were anything to worry about. The missile is going to land on Guam, end quote. He went on to say, we've got defense mechanisms. They have the ability to seek out kinetic energy and destroy it, end quote. The North, quote, improved their missile capability, but that's neither here nor there, he said. If you're going to fire it at someone, going to get shot down. Now, no more capability for launching missiles, but in my view, no missile is going to hit, end quote. Guam in spotlight. Island residents Wednesday to national headlines of the North Korean missile threat, which came after President Trump said, quote, North Korea best not to the United States, end quote. Trump told reporters of his Bedminster course that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been threatened beyond a normal standard, and as I said, they will be met with fire and fury and frankly power, the likes of which the world has never seen before. U.S. tensions with North Korea and its ambitions to obtain a concern for the last four presidential administrations, regardless of who was in the White House, he said, diplomacy failed. It's gotten progressively worse over the last 20 years, end quote, Peterson said. Trump's rhetoric towards North Korea has sparked. Peterson said he reserves judgment, stating that everyone to a bully. Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis on Wednesday echoed Trump the threats from the North, stating provocation which be met with the quote destruction of its people, end quote. Global security threat, quote, the Republic of Korea must choose to stop isolating, stand down its pursuit of nuclear weapons, and told the North Korea leader in a Department of Defense press release. The DPRK should see consideration of action that would lead to the end of the destruction of its people, end quote. The U.S. and its allies are capable of fending off an attack. He added that Kim Jong-un should, quote, take heed to the Security Council, which believes North Korea, quote, poses a threat to global stability, end quote. Quote, while our State Department is making every effort to resolve through diplomatic means, it must be noted the combined allied militaries now possess the most precise, rehearsed, and robust defensive and offensive capabilities on Earth, end quote. That's a long article. I'll tell you, folks. This North Korea stuff is nothing. I don't. As far as like being scared or anything like that, no, I'm not. Is just the thoughts of a foreign country being totally wiped off the map. Something that I don't see why there's so much tension between our two countries. Like, all this out. you know, you would expect. That's not the case, I don't guess. I wanted to get into this meeting with Secretary of Health and Human Services Tom Price. Excuse me. I'm gonna let that load for a minute. So I try to keep videos that in which I share with you all. But yeah, as touchy a subject as North Korea is, I would think there would have to be a resolution, and you kind of have to ask yourself, all this in the mainstream media in the years prior leading up to this little nuclear, that's really got me puzzled. I mean, gave them their nuclear capability balloon or whatever. Then I think it was in 2013. What does Obama do? But give Iran their nuclear ability, which is just outrageous in itself. Let's get to this video.
Good afternoon. Extremely productive meeting with the President and the First Lady. The President and First Lady are absolutely fully engaged on a tragedy that is affecting the country. The President understands the magnitude of this challenge, how devastating it is, how it's devastated individuals and families and communities, large and small. Families and on children. The numbers are absolutely daunting. 52,000 overdose deaths in 2019, 33,000 of those approximately related to opioids. The numbers in 2016 are no better. 2016. So we briefed the President on our strategy through Health and Human Services Department. A strategy that includes making certain that we have the resources and the information necessary for prevention and treatment and recovery, providing best practices for states and those that are engaged in that process, making certain that we have needed anywhere across the country, making certain that we're doing the identifying the data. Is it that 52,000 Americans succumbed to an overdose death in 2015, and those numbers continuing to increase? Fourth is the research aspect of this. What is the NIH doing? What can they do? Kind of exciting things to provide for, hopefully, pain medication that is not addictive or is not euphoric. One of the exciting things that they're actually working prospect. As a formerly practicing physician, orthopedic surgeon, I know that physicians and other providers have oftentimes sensed that there is an incentive to provide narcotic medication, and we need to do all we can to make certain that, yes, people are providing medication when necessary, but no more than necessary. We wanted to make certain that the President understood that it was his entire cabinet process that's moving forward. We've met ONDCP and others to make certain that we're working together on a comprehensive strategy that we're in the midst of right now, and that we will be presenting to the President in the near future. At the end of all of that, it's certain that we understood that he was absolutely committed to making certain that we turn this scourge in the right direction, turn this tide in the right direction, and make certain that we serve over and appreciate that this is an absolute priority of his administration, as it has been from day one. One of the things that we've done to try to bring a voice to it and bring faces to it is to go around the country and visit communities and try to find those best practices, what's working out there, what hasn't worked. Talk with those families that have been devastated by what is it that worked. And it's so uplifting and inspiring to hear the stories of many of those individuals. One of the President's senior counselors, Kellyanne, at our meeting today, and I know that she wants to say a few words as well. Kellyanne.
Thank you, Secretary Price, and his Director of ONDCP, Rich, with us today as well.
This is a subject that I really have dear. There's been a lot of families that have been touched by this, and if you live where I live, personally, what I'm talking about, this is truly an epidemic, and it's even been labeled a disease, something that has robbed many a child from their child. I mean, you don't realize the extent of something like that until you've had to live through it or see it firsthand, which is, it's pretty sad. I know you can't just like I said, if you haven't been there yourself and seen it, you probably won't believe it. But I can tell you right now firsthand that about the opioid epidemic, not nationwide but worldwide. Thing like that people need help with, it needs to be available to from the drug war to this point in time. There ain't no war on drugs that the only thing they can do is decriminalize it. Because there ain't nothing that works when it comes to a war on drugs. when you take and you give somebody a big lot of time for a very small amount of drugs, it doesn't help the community. In like a financial way, it doesn't help their family because it not only family members' addiction problem, they're then burdened by having to worry about that family member, being in jail and being sick and or being mistreated. I'm listening to all it done is give these people that were already drug selling their drugs. And you look at a lot of this medical marijuana, all these products, it don't come from like your standard lab. It comes from a home lab most, and grows, a certain strand or from that marijuana, and then it's then sold to a dispensary which resells it to its patients with a markup price. I mean, it helps the taxes, and but then again, like I said, it just gives these news.com. Kentucky Republicans and Democrats clash over opioid epidemic. Frankfort, Kentucky. AP. Top Republican lawmaker says Kentucky settled a lawsuit against a major prescription painkiller for, quote, pennies on the dollar, end quote, to avoid an embarrassing conflict of interest for the state's Democratic Attorney General. The allegation from Kentucky Senate President Robert Stivers intention killer manufacturers. Bashir accused Stivers of trying to politicize the opioid epidemic. Former Democratic Attorney General Jack Conway settled Kentucky's case against OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma in December 2015 for $24 million, just a few weeks before Bashir took office. Before becoming Attorney General, Bashir previously worked Conway said the settlement had nothing to do with Bashir. I thought there was more to that article. That's about it, Alex Morgan, tonight. Be sure to tune in next time. I love y'all. Please be praying for the broadcast. Please go over to alexmorganshow.com. Make a purchase. Buy a product. Know that you're truly funding some good people and people that with us. I love y'all. Pray for me. See y'all next time. Later. Good night, folks. Love y'all. Peace.